One more thing I wanted to ask you about is going to be Nvidia. For the longest time, this was the darling. It seemed like this traded up every single day, no matter how big it got, seemed to defy the law of large numbers. Now it looks like it's kind of rolling over here. We actually have a nice little triangle on this chart near the recent highs that it's so far broken. Looks like it's going towards the 100-day. What do you make here of Nvidia? Do you like that this is maybe kind of coming back in and broadening out some of the market breadth? What do you think here with some of the chips, in particular Nvidia?
Well, the one thing with Nvidia, of course, is so important to the SMH, the semiconductor ETF. But as you mentioned with Nvidia, is that, I mean, you could also look, if you go back to basically October, a head and shoulders pattern. And we're just breaking below the neckline of that pattern. You know, it's kind of a little bit of an upward sloping neckline, which you frequently have. So this is a concern. I do think what happens, you know, it looks like it's heading for its 100-day moving average. And whether it bounces off that, because that has been kind of a key level for the last several months, if it breaks below that, then we got some problems. You say, well, one of the things we are seeing is that this rotation within the Mag 7 names. We saw a little bit of rotation last week within the semiconductor group, with Broadcom having that great big thing. But if so I guess if you can continue, Tesla's another. I mean, Tesla is up 70% or something. You know, it's up 250% since April. I mean, is Tesla's earnings really got that much better? I mean, I understand that his teaming up with Donald Trump is going to help him, but is Tesla's outlook really gotten that much better? So I guess my point is a lot of people are kind of rotating out of Nvidia, but staying within the Mag 7. Right now, it's Tesla, Amazon, Google's doing a little bit better. But if it's some reason they all start to roll over, that's going to be a big problem, because the SMH has been underperforming for 6 months now, or at least 4 or 5, 6 months now. That's exactly what we saw in 2018. That group topped out in the spring, and it underperformed, and it was followed by a 20% correction in the overall market in the fourth quarter of that year. This time it's a couple of months later. This time it topped out in the summer. Okay, now we're about 6 months later, and so we're kind of going to that thing. If the SMH really starts to roll over, and if Nvidia breaks down, it will, because it's 25 or 23% of the SMH. If that starts to get hit, I think the rest of the market is going to be vulnerable to rolling over. It probably doesn't happen until after the first of the year, but you got to be very careful with that. My point is, and we've talked about this in the past, the chip stocks are not a lagging indicator. Sometimes they're a coincident indicator. They move up or down with the stock market. But whenever they move first, the stock market follows it. The S&P follows it up or down. It's never the SMH following the S&P. So maybe it's different this time. Maybe the S&P will maybe the SMH, the chip stocks, will bounce back and follow the S&P higher. But if history is any guide, and I'm talking about the last 4 decades, not just the last 4 years, last 4 decades. If history is any guide, if Nvidia breaks down and the SMH breaks down, that's going to be a big warning flag for the market when we get into the new year. So my point is, I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on Nvidia, not just this week, but in the weeks ahead.
Okay, really, really good stuff there, Matt.